This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me right now is David MacLauren. He is the CEO of MediaValet. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is MVP on the TSX Venture. Sorry, I had to say it like that. Like you have MVP, like you have to say it like you're actually at a sports stadium. So, David, with that, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. You're welcome. And just for the record, it stands for Most Valuable Product.
Oh, okay. There
Light spin on it.
See what you did there. Very, very good, David. Well, before we get into it, I just want to let everybody know that David and MediaValet will be presenting at our upcoming SNN.Network Canada virtual event happening January 6th and 7th, 2021. So be sure to go to our website, canada.snn.network, to register and listen in to their presentation. So with that, David, let's get started. This is our first time doing an interview together. I'd love to start off with an overview and history of the company, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. MediaValet started out as an internal solution to a company prior to this, company that I started in 2010. And that was a global production company. So we primarily worked in the hospitality and travel space. And in 2010, we had 15,000 hotel customers around the world, over 40 terabytes of data, primarily data meaning images. And we needed a way to manage all those images and enable our hotel customers to be able to log in and self-serve if they wanted to buy additional images beyond the packages that they had bought in their original packages. The challenge is some of the big daddies of the digital asset management industry, like the OpenTexes and North Plains of the world, couldn't meet our needs. We were in 122 countries. Those 15,000 hotels had multiple users per hotel. And it made it really difficult to find a solution, and expensive, to solve that problem that we had. So my CTO and I at the time, who's my CTO still today, Jean Lozano, we delved into that challenge to figure out how we could solve it. And we ended up building this digital asset management solution initially for that company. But 5 years later, we sold a production company and spun out what we now call MediaValet into this global enterprise digital asset management platform that meets the DAM needs for digital asset management of mid-market to enterprise organizations.
I mean, so was this a purposeful thing to utilize all these types of acronyms right now? You got MVP, all the damn needs. I mean, like, what other puns can we come up with before this interview's over? I can't wait to find out more about them. But so David, my next question then for you is, in the digital asset management space, what would you say makes MediaValet unique and different compared to some of your peers out there?
Well, first and foremost, we were born in the cloud. That was big. So we were the first digital asset management system to be born exclusively in the cloud. We were the first to be born on Microsoft Azure. So we're exclusively built on the Azure platform as a service, another acronym for you, PaaS, cloud platform, which does make us truly unique. So beyond that, we offer the highest level of security, compliance, redundancy, and accessibility globally. This is what makes us an enterprise digital asset management system and gives us a huge competitive advantage. But at the same time, we're also extremely nimble as an organization. So we're one of the latest entrants to the DAM space. So today that space is about a $3 billion industry, and it's expected to head towards $8 billion over the next 5 years. It's a 30-plus-year-old industry. But the cloud component of that industry is the fastest growing. And the cloud component is what's supposed to make up that 5 billion that's going to develop over the next 5 or so years. So for us in here now, we are quite unique because being born in the cloud, built exclusively on Microsoft Azure, and having this enterprise approach to help organizations manage their digital assets from the ideation and creation phase all the way through review and approval, to distribution, and then archival. That makes us unique because we're enterprise and we're also full asset lifecycle. That truly makes us unique on top of being built on this global platform as a service cloud platform.
Very good. So, I mean, when a customer purchases your platform, who's the main user of it? Is it their main graphics person that's like, all right, we need to create a new menu or a new this? Like, who's the main person that's then using your platform?
It's a really good question. Primarily and traditionally in DAM, it's going to be creative operations or marketing. And that is today where we primarily start. But the ultimate goal for us and our organizations is to create a single source of truth for digital assets throughout their organization, to create this bedrock platform that manages assets in every department across the entire organization.
Got it. Okay. I thought that was a decent question. I'm
No,
glad we
it's a
got
great question.
glad we got that one.
But it might help to understand what a digital asset is, because
Yeah.
for some it can be a little bit confusing. So in the marketing world, kind of we start with source assets. And a source asset could be a graphic like a logo. It could be an infographic, but that's usually built up a bit. Stock photos, B-roll, fonts. These are kind of source assets that are used to create the assets that we as consumers see in the end, which could be a billboard ad, it could be a TV commercial, it could be a product design, product packaging, any of those things as consumers that we see in the products that we purchase, but also in how companies market services, all that marketing material, sales material, product packaging, and product assets. Those are all digital assets. But also a digital asset can be a Word document or a PowerPoint or a PDF, any of those things. An asset, digital asset would be a full-length movie as well that we go to the movie theater watch or watch on Netflix. Those are all digital assets in our realm, and we manage them all. It also, another thing that makes us a little bit unique as a DAM is we manage all those assets and all their formats and all their versions, all the way from creation to archival.
Do you also have a B2C product? Because I know, look, I'm in LA. There's a lot of artists here. There's a lot of freelance photographers that might want to try and monetize some of their products or some of their artwork. Do you have a B2C component, or is that maybe something in the works?
We don't. We're strictly B2B, and we're
Okay.
sold under a SaaS model. And we do that very specifically in that the enterprise DAM use case that we tackled today is extremely complex. As for the investors that have been following us for the last 5 years or more, it's a really complex problem, and it's constantly evolving and growing. And that's why this industry is growing, expected to grow from this 3 billion area to 8 billion, because the number of use cases are expanding exponentially every year as more and more industries tackle this digital transformation evolution that all companies are going through. That evolution of digital transformation creates way more digital assets. If you think 10 years ago, a lot of things weren't done digitally. Today, almost every company in the world does at least a decent part of their business digitally, even if it's just creating Word documents. But then think business cards, right? Something simple like a business card. Then think of, it could be any ad that's online just through digital demand marketing. So you're creating skyscraper ads, you're creating other images in that for your website and videos for your website, all those designs, those are all digital assets, and they need to be managed somewhere, because it's critical as an organization to have control over these assets that we create, because they are relatively expensive to create. And when you make that investment, you want to be able to track them and control them and then be able to repurpose them in the future.
And David, I also have to ask, who would you say is MediaValet's biggest competitor?
Oh, good question. So Adobe Assets, specifically that product is our biggest competitor in the market today. Beyond that, the DAM landscape is quite broad, but very specific use cases. So as I was mentioning before, we handle everything cradle to grave, from ideation, creation, review and approval, distribution, and archival. So in that space, and in the enterprise DAM use case space, so mid-market and enterprise, we have very, very few competitors. And again, Adobe being the largest.
And David, what was your background prior to founding the original production company and the spin out? What led you to this whole journey?
Oh, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 12.
Okay.
So following the footsteps of my mom and dad, my first business, although it was small, a fledgling organization, but I was 12 years old when I started that. And
What was it?
until now. So it's a long story, but really quickly, canoeing with my dad, canoe flips over because my dad stands up to wave at a friend as he water skis by. We go under, my dad loses his glasses. And to solve that, in the following days, I cut up my scuba suit to create neoprene eyeglass straps so that if your glasses fall off, or specifically if my dad's glasses fall off anytime in the future, they will float. That was my first company. And I sold that when I was just 15, roughly. So did it for a couple of years and created a few thousand of them in my basement over those years. But yeah, that's how I started.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, with that, to close out this interview, from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts now going into 2021?
Well, coming out of a really interesting year, going into 21. So 20 has been a really good year for us. We are growing 54% year on year, still growing aggressively this year. And going into 21, we're leaning harder into product, as we are a product company through and through. And we have all those use cases that we're addressing as they continue to grow. So we're leaning more into product, customer success, and sales and marketing. So for those that have followed this year, we've made some really good strides, but we're only just beginning, because in each of the industries that we're in, those industries, their use cases, again, coming back to those, are growing rapidly. And as those use cases grow, the pain points increase, which just means more opportunity for us to get in and help our customers improve their productivity. And that productivity for them makes them move faster, because our entire business is about increasing velocity and ensuring business continuity for all of our organizations that we work with. And that opportunity is increasing every single day. And you'll see that coming in 21, 22, 23, as we continue to grow throughout. And we do expect, as COVID gets behind us at some point, that we'll continue to accelerate, because we've seen that digital transformation that's been happening in all these industries that I mentioned has sped up in 2020 because of this new digital workforce and work environment that we're all in, this work from anywhere type environment. That's accelerated digital transformation across all industries. And that's good for DAM and all other SaaS products.
Well, with that, David, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck, stay safe, and I look forward to our next update.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Thank you.